Welcome to Bear Reacts, where not only do you get a reaction, but also a little history about the song or the artist. If you're new to the channel, please pull up a chair and pour yourself a beverage of choice. But if you're a returning viewer, it's nice seeing you again. Today, we are diving into one of the most iconic, emotional, and misunderstood songs ever recorded. Frank Sinatra's My Way.
And more, much more than this, I did it my way.
The link to the original performance is in the description below if you want to experience it in full with no interruptions. And as always, these are just my thoughts, my opinions, and my passion for music history, shared from one music lover to another. Because the story of My Way didn't begin in Vegas or in Sinatra's tuxedo swagger. It began in France with heartbreak, coffee, and a simple piano. It's 1967 and songwriter Jacques Revaux is in the ski town Megy, France. He wakes up and sits down at a piano and in a single morning writes not one, not two, not even three, but 4 songs. One of them is a little melody he calls Comme des Hapatur. Or, as usual, sorry if I butcher the name of that song. I apologize, I don't speak French. When pop star Claude Francois hears it, he tweaks the melody and adds 1 note. And with lyricist Gilles Thibot, rewrites the entire story. Their version isn't about pride or power, it's about routine, a love that's gone wrong, a love that's gone cold, the sadness of 2 people just going through the motions of being in a relationship. It's really about heartbreak. Released in November 1967, it's a hit in France, but it's not the global powerhouse that we know of it today. The song's journey is just the beginning. Meanwhile, in London, a 20-year-old David Bowie, yes, Ziggy Stardust, is hustling for a break. He's working for a demo company that adapts European pop songs into English, and they hand him Revaux's melody. And he writes his own version called Even a Fool Learns to Love. Take a listen.
I'd like to bring on the rest of the artists who will be working with us tonight. In about 1968, my then publisher asked me if I would do an English lyric for a French song that he was managing at the time. It's called Comme d'habitude. Comme d'habitude. And I said I'd have a crack at it, and I turned in the pitifully awful title, Even a Fool Learns to Love, which he rejected out of hand, quite rightly, I feel. And it passed on to Paul Anka, who did his own English lyric, and he called it, simply and effectively, My Way. So in retaliation, yeah, right. In retaliation, I wrote Life on Mars. But then I got my comeuppance when Miss Barbara Streisand decided to cover Mars. Going through one of her slightly more lost periods, she had her then husband come hairdresser produce and arrange and probably blow dry it. Anyway.
Remember, this has the same melody, just completely different lyrics.
The laughing time when even a fool learns to love.
But the song gets shelved. 2 years later, Bowie hears My Way on the radio and realizes it's the same damn tune. He later said his song Life on Mars was his revenge, a grand, surreal response to My Way. That's right. Bowie's theatrical masterpiece exists because of My Way. Now, across the ocean, Paul Anka is in Paris when he hears Comme des Hapatur on TV. The melody stops him in his tracks. He says, you know what? I got to get back to New York and buy these rights. And he does. And on one rainy night, he sits at a typewriter and begins writing for Frank Sinatra. He doesn't translate the lyrics, he reinvents them. He imagines an older Frank looking back at his life, proud, unapologetic, defiant. By morning, the lyrics are finished. Regrets? I have had a few. A song about domestic weariness becomes an anthem of independence. December 1968, Los Angeles. Frank Sinatra walks into a studio with arranger Don Costa. The band is ready. The lights are low. Sinatra steps in front of a mic. Some say he nailed the song in one take. I can't confirm that, but that's the myth. And now the end is near. That voice, equal parts thunder and velvet, fills the room. It's not just a recording, it's a farewell speech. The song only reaches number 27 on the US charts. In the UK, it stays in the top 40 for 75 weeks straight. The world had found its anthem of defiance. But here's the twist. Sinatra ended up hating it. He thought it was pompous, too self-important. His daughter Tina once said he couldn't get that song off his shoe. And Jacques Revaux, the man who wrote the melody, said he had regrets too. He loved what it became, but he felt Coma de Hapatur got buried beneath the myth of what is my way. He won awards all over the world, everywhere except for France. Sometimes the song that defines you isn't the one you wanted to write. Over the decades, My Way took on many lives. Elvis made it tender, Nina Simone turned it inward, and Sid Vicious of the Sex Pistols turned it into anarchy. His 1978 version sneered, spat, and even fired a gun mid-song. Paul Anka later said he was somewhat destabilized by it, but he saw something real in all of that chaos. That's what great music does. It survives interpretation. Sinatra's pride, Bowie's rebellion, Sid's rage, all connected by one melody. In Britain, My Way became the most requested funeral song, the soundtrack to final goodbyes. A song that started as heartbreak became the language of closure. Jacques Revaux, the quiet craftsman from France, watched his melody travel farther than he could have ever imagined. From Paris cafes to punk stages, from Bowie's typewriter to Sinatra's microphone, it all comes back to one song. So the next time you hear Sinatra sing I Did It My Way, remember it wasn't just his way. It was Revaux's, Francois', Anka's, Bowie's, and now it belongs to us, the fans. These are just my thoughts from one storyteller to another music lover. If you learned something new, hit that like button, share it with a fellow fan. But now we're going to react to Sinatra's My Way because I have literally never heard this track before. So without further ado, let's roll that intro and let's get into My Way.
Welcome to Bear Reacts.
Go.
We will now do the national anthem, but you needn't rise. And now the end is near,
You got me.
and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll make it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full.
Okay. That lyric is, it means so much to me because I want to live a life that's full. I don't want to go back in time and think, I wish I would have, I wish I could have. I want to live a life when I look back at my life and say, I've done everything I wanted to, that my life is full. Beautiful, it's beautiful, beautiful lyrics.
Lived a life that's full.
Love that lyric. Just love it.
Traveled each and every highway, and more than this, I did it
So beautiful.
Regrets, I've had a few, but then again,
Love
too
those
few to
strings.
mention.
Did you guys hear those strings just come in? Oh, the strings. Oh, those strings are muy bonito. Muy.
I did it my way.
That's all you could ask for in life.
Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did
Live
what
life with no
I
regrets,
had
man. To
to
do what you need to do and live life, man.
I saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there
Oh, the
were
horns.
times
Did you hear the
I
horns?
guess
Oh, the horns
you
came in.
knew
This is just building up step
when
by
I
step.
bit off more than I could chew. And with it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up, then spit it out. I grew tall through it all and did it my way.
I just want to point something out. So it's funny because the horns come in at the beginning of that verse and they're extraordinary. And I know this is a live version and not the recorded version, but so I don't know if there's horns in the album cover, but when you hear it, the horns come in and then he starts building. It's like he's building up, 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 and it's just so much goodness just built into that. He's just building this crescendo, and it's building and it's building and it's stacking. Mwah, love it. Let's go back a little bit.
More than I could chew, and with it
See, it's
all,
building.
when there was doubt, I ate it up, then spit it out. I
Spit
grew
it out.
tall through it all and did it my
He's at the peak.
way.
Oh, and then just, oh shoot, he drops it down.
Laughed and cried. I've had my fill, my share of losing. But now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that. And may I say, not in a shy way. No, no, not me. I did it my way.
Like that delay. Here it
For
goes.
what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you very much. You've been marvelous.
Okay, so I think that's the second time I've heard Frank Sinatra. The first time I don't really count it, so I'm gonna say that's my first time I've ever listened to Frank Sinatra. The first time technically is I watched What Women Want with Mel Gibson, and I know they play a song by Mel Gibson on there, or by Frank Sinatra with Mel Gibson. So I guess I've heard it before. I've heard a song by Frank, but not My Way. And the music is, I'm talking not the lyrics or anything like that. The music itself is something to be admired. The way it's performed in this version of the song, where you can hear that they're building and building and building, and then it just drops. And then they start to build and build it up again, and then it drops, and then it builds up and builds up and builds up. And then you get the horns playing. Oh, those horns, those sweet, sweet horns on that track is muy bonito. I loved every second of it. That is such an amazing track. I can't even imagine anybody else singing that song. Not Elvis, not anybody else. I'm glad I've never heard anybody else sing it other than Frank so far. I might do the Elvis one because my mom loves Elvis, but everything about that, the instrumental of that song is so good. And you got the horns, you got the strings, you got his deep voice just going over all of it. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. That's music perfection in a way that you don't get very often anymore. You don't get this kind of complex build anymore in any songs from what I hear of modern day music. So I actually really enjoyed every bit of that song. But with that, I want to thank you all for choosing Bear Reacts. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing, smash that like button, share this video, let me know your thoughts on it. When was the first time you heard My Way by Frank Sinatra? Is it one of your favorite songs? Is it something you want played at your funeral? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think it's overplayed? I would love to hear your thoughts down below. I hope you'll have a good day. God bless. And as always, deuces. Until next time, keep rocking and keep the spirit of music alive. God bless everybody.